reminding me to record. So at a time I might forget. So the recording is on. And if I go to this recipient type, I have filtered my this mailbox list with respect to show only the shared mailbox. Okay, so this is one of the basic administrative tasks that you can do in the portal. You can filter as per user mailboxes or shared mailboxes and all users. So if I have done the filter to show only the shared mailboxes as of now. So most of them were having some issues. They were telling me that they are not able to access the shared mailboxes. Some of them have fixed on their own, and some of them are still having the issue. And I remember that one of the guy was telling me, don't know what was the shared mailbox, but let me check this. So he was trying to open this mailbox. So how to open a shared mailbox? To open a shared mailbox, you will have to copy this user ID. Okay, now this is a shared mailbox. So if I open, go over here, so this is how we open Outlook. So outlook.office.com. Let me sign in with a different user. So if I want to open a shared mailbox, let me show you again. I want to open this shared mailbox, correct? So I went to Outlook. You can click on this 9 dots and you have the various application listed over here, or simply you can go to outlook.office.com and it will send you to the a regular login page and choose another account. And if I try to paste that account over here, so this is a shared mailbox and you won't be able to access it. Let me post my password. Okay. So I don't know the password. Even if I know the password, you won't be able to access the shared mailbox using the user ID of the shared mailbox. A user account can be a user mailbox can be accessed using the user ID. Okay, a shared mailbox cannot be used. So to use a user mailbox, it should have some user as a owner, or user should have access. User should have access like read access, read and manage full access. So since this shared mailbox don't have any user who have access currently, so this shared mailbox cannot be accessed. Okay, so shared mailbox, to understand, if you want to open a shared mailbox, it should be assigned permission to any of the users. Either it should be a means of generally the permission which is assigned is the read and manage full access permission. So unless and until you configure this permission on a shared mailbox, that shared mailbox will not be accessible. So that is the first lab fix for many of the users who are trying to open the shared mailbox. Okay, so if I go over here, let me open this. And if I go to delegation, and I can see there are 4 users assigned permission on this shared mailbox. So if you want to open this shared mailbox that is created by RCR, and 4 users can access that shared mailbox now as of now. So permission has been assigned to 4 users. So if I want to open this shared mailbox, Asia SMB at whatever domain.com, only these 4 users can supply the credentials and open that particular share mailbox. So I have this online batch admin at 76hp3.onmicrosoft.com. So if I go over here, let me show you how to open a share mailbox. I will go here. I will say Outlook. Okay. So this is my account. I'm Mustafa 76hp3 on Microsoft.com. I will click open another mailbox. And here I will supply the shared mailbox details. Now you are bound to get this error. And if you go to this error, you can specifically see for this error, access denied, which means M Mustafa don't have access on that share mailbox. So what I will go to delegation. I will go to edit. I will go to add members, and here I will say M Mustafa, and I will say save and confirm. So once the changes are replicated or propagated, then I will be able to access this shared mailbox. If I select refresh, still not, I'm not able to access. So open another mailbox. Okay, so let's wait for replication to happen. So once the replication is complete, I will be able to access this mailbox. So overall idea is, so let me use. Okay, now another way is how to open a shared mailbox. To open a shared mailbox, you have to use this URL. Okay, outlook.office.com/mail/the email ID of the shared mailbox. So this is a direct way to access the shared mailbox. And when I press enter, on in a different mode. Okay, I'm opening in Google Chrome incognito mode. So this will ask for the username password. Who are you to open the shared mailbox? I will say use another account and I will supply my credential. Okay, then I will be redirected for my MFA. Okay, so if you see, I am able to access. But if I go here and if I try to send a mail, let me send a mail to FP2 admin, let me send a mail to sorry, and let me send a mail to that is Gmail ID and etc. And then this is first test email. check out the error. Okay, so I am logged in to this shared mailbox. Okay, using my credentials. Okay, now I'm trying to send an email. So let me check whether I'm able to send it. So I'm bound to get this message. Could not send the following message. Okay, so some people have reported the issue that I am not able to send emails via the shared mailbox. The issue is you have to assign send as permissions. Okay, so once Mustafa has this send as permission after the changes has been replicated in propagator, he would be able to send emails from this mailbox. So our whole idea is to explain what is the uh, idea behind assigning a full access and what is the idea behind assigning a send as permission. So the difference is full access will only allow you to read and to read the email, okay? And send as access will allow you to send the email as it comes, means it will like the recipient will feel like the mail has come from that shared mailbox, okay? Okay, so the recipient will not come to know the mail has been sent by Mustafa. So it is sent by a shared mailbox. So that is the send as permission functionality of the send as permission. Okay. So this is how, so shared mailbox should always have a delegation. So what kind of delegations are there? Send as and full access. So shared mailbox always comes on delegation. Delegation, in other words, are permissions. Okay. Now, so this is one of the reasons. So first issue was user were not able to open the shared mailbox. So shared mailbox cannot be opened with their own account. It will be opened by a user account. Okay. And shared mailbox, you won't be able to send mails via shared mailbox until and unless you have assigned a send as permission on the shared mailbox. And similarly, if you go to the resources, and I can see most of them have created a resource mailbox as well. And the difference between the resource mailbox and shared mailbox is if I go to conference room, this is one of the resource mailbox. Okay, so this is one of the resource mailbox. And if you see, you have booking delegates and you have managed delegates. So resource mailbox is generally used for scheduling the or scheduling or blocking the equipments or rooms. Okay, it is used for scheduling meetings or it is used for booking the rooms. Okay, you can say. So if I go to this resource delegates, it is this resource mailbox is almost like a shared mailbox, but the major difference is so the resource mailbox is like a shared mailbox. Okay, the major difference is if you go over here and if I want to assign permission, okay, I will say let me assign permission to Mustafa. And if I try to assign permission, you can see I can assign three types of permissions over here. Full access, send as, and send on behalf. Whereas in shared mailbox, I was only able to assign this two access. Okay, full access and send as access. So a resource mailbox has a third types of permission or third types of delegation which can be assigned, that is called as send on behalf. A send on behalf permission is a permission when a user sends email using this resource mailbox. The recipient will understand that this mail has come from a particular user and not from the shared mail, from the resource mailbox. So it will be written like Mustafa has sent this email on behalf of conference room. Okay, so recipient will come to know that someone else is trying to send email using this resource mailbox. Okay, so whereas in shared mailbox, a recipient will not come to know that a user has been delegated permission and he has sent the email. Okay, so that is the difference between the shared mailbox and resource mailbox when it comes to permissions. Okay. Now, so that is one of the issue, and people often say that when I can see most of them have created this contact as well. So this is contact is generally for, so these contacts are generally created so that these users or these external email IDs are available in my global address list. So global address list is not nothing but just a contact list. Let me open this. Open this and open. If I go and compose my new email, and if I want to retrieve all the users and all the contacts in my organization, so I want to pull out my contact book. So like in the phone, you have a contact information, all of where you save all your contacts. Similarly, you have a global address list in Exchange Online or on-premises Exchange server, where all your contacts are listed. So it's to see all the available contacts, you have to click on this two button, and it will give information about all the contacts. So here I can fine tune. I will say give information about all the contacts. So when I click on all contacts, it will give me the information of all the external email IDs. When I click all users, it will give me information about all the user mailbox. Okay. And also the shared mailbox. Okay. So contact is created so that external email ID contacts are created in your global address list. This is called as global address list. So how to go to global address list? Go to this two button, and from here you will get the global address list. And if you say default global address list, it will have all the information, like it will have information of all the users, all the rooms, all the distribution rules, all the contacts. Okay, so collective information of all the recipient in your organization will reflect in global address list. So this is interview question from where means the interviewer can ask that where will you see global address list and how to find user from a global address list. Okay. Now, for example, there is one user and that user is a CEO and he's saying that I don't want my email ID to be reflected in global address list. Means whenever a user search for the contact book, their email contact book, my email ID should not be listed. So what I can do for that specific purpose, I will go to Exchange Admin Center. And if I go to my mailboxes, okay, and here Asif is a CEO and Asif is telling that I should not be in the global address list. No one should know what is my email ID. So what should you do? The option is to hide the user from the global address list. So to hide the address from the user's email ID from the global address list, click on the users. Okay. And here you have the option hide from global address list. Okay, it is set to no. That means the user will be visible. And if I click on manage hide from gal, and if I select off, okay. So if you read this small piece of information that is provided by Microsoft, hide selected mailbox from global address list. So that is in short called as GAL. So in subsequent chapter, if I call GAL, then you should understand then that it is global address list. So this built-in list is automatically created by chain and includes every mail-enabled objects in the Active Directory forest. When I choose to hide, it will hide the details from the global address list. So from where it is going to hide? If I click here and if I go to global address list and if I select ASIF, okay. So as of now, ASIF is visible, but once I refresh or once the replication happen, Asif Yusuf will not be a part of the global address list. I think I have picked the correct account. Let me check what was the email ID. Yes, Asif at the domain.com. Okay. Let me refresh and let me compose new email. And if I click to, and if I look for Asif, you can see now Asif is no more listed in my default global address list. Okay, so it is for the simple reason I have hidden him from the global address list in the background. Okay, so generally tickets comes or the request comes in day-to-day activities where users say that where the user says that I don't want to be the visible in the contact, or the user say some user report that I can't see a particular user in my address list, whereas he is the employee of the company, but he is not listed. So it could be the reason that he might be hidden from the global address list. And even if he is not hidden, what we will do, we will once hide him from the GAL and then we will again enable it. So in that way, what will happen? The hidden user will reappear in global address list. Okay, so this is one of the basic administrative tasks which an Exchange Online and 365 administrator do. Okay. So this is true for everything, for contacts, for groups, and for mailboxes. You can hide or unhide the user from the global address list. Okay. Now coming to our next uh, agenda, custom domains. Okay. So what are custom domains? So custom domains are nothing but your own domain. Okay. So right now I am using on Microsoft.com. And when I have my own custom domain, I can change it to 76 hpc3.onmicrosoft.com. So this is the default domain. Okay. And if I want to get rid of this on Microsoft.com, I will add a custom domain and I will name it as 76hpc3.com. Okay, so it can be any domain like tata.com, reliance.com, but you should own this domain. Okay, so if I see all the email ID have this suffix, okay, Mustafa at 76 HPC HPC3 dot on Microsoft.com. So instead, I want to get rid of on Microsoft.com. It doesn't look professional. So what can I do? I will have to add a custom domain in my organization. So what are the steps to add a custom domain? So to add a custom domain, the prerequisites is that you should own that domain. You will have to GoDaddy or VeriSign or Google or any company, and you will have to first purchase this domain, and then you will have to supply that piece of information to Office 365, and you have to get authorized that, and you have to inform Office 365 or Microsoft that I am the owner. Please register this domain for me in your tenant. Okay. So what is the option? If I go to my Exchange Admin Center, it is 365 Admin Center. I go to Setup. Okay. If I go to Setting, and here I have the option called as domains. So here, if I want to add my domain, if you can see, so if you see this 76 hp on Microsoft.com, this is the default domain that Microsoft has given to you because you don't own any domain. So you have left it to Microsoft to give you a domain. Now, if I want to get rid of this on Microsoft.com, what I will do is I will go to add domain and I will say that I want 76hpc3.com, or simply say I want my domain to be tata.com. But I am not the owner of this domain because this domain is owned by Tata company. So let's see if I try to add what's going to happen. Use this domain. So when I select tata.com, it will say that prove that you are the owner of tata.com. Okay, so randomly not any guy will pop out from his seat and tell that I am the owner of the domain. So to verify you own your domain. So you have to generate a text record. This M365 will generate a text record. Okay, if I say continue, okay, this text record I will have to copy and I will have to go to my DNS registrar like GoDaddy, VeriSign or Google, and then I have to paste this text record over there. But I can't go over there because Tata.com is not owned by me. Okay. Okay, so I will go to back and I will say back and I will say I am not the owner of tata.com. So I will put 76hpc3.com. But again, I have not registered this domain. So I won't be able to register this domain here. So how to register a domain? To register a domain, you will have to. Okay. So to register a domain, if I go to this GoDaddy, or this is the Google domain. So Google is also providing domain services. And if I say 76hpc3.com, if I say enter, so it will say, yes, 76hp3.com is available, but you will have to pay 860 rupees per year. And if I pay this amount, then I will get this domain. Okay, so this is how you register. You buy a domain, you buy your own domain, whatever domain.com, whatever organization you own, you have to buy that domain in the DNS registrar. DNS registrar is nothing but your Google domains, or you are this MailChimp.com and you have this Namecheap.com, then you have GoDaddy, or you have that VeriSign. Okay. So once I have purchased the domain, I will go and I will copy this text record and I will paste that text record into the Google domain service where my 76hpc3.com domain is hosted. Okay, so this is how you register. So again, I will show to register a domain. You will have to go to settings, and the settings there is a domain option, and domain option you have to add domain. And if you see, you have buy domain option. So directly you can go to Microsoft and you can tell Microsoft that I want to buy a domain. I don't have any domain. So if you can select buy domain, but I can't buy a domain because this is my trial plan, because I am using this trial plan for my students. This is not in production yet. In case if you are in production, you can just go to buy domain and you have to follow the steps and you will be able to own this domain and add this domain in your organization. Okay, so what will happen in the background after you register? If I go to my Exchange Center, if I go to mail flow, you can see there is accepted domains. Okay, so if I register that domain, that specific domain will be available in my accepted domain, which means my email ID can be 76hpc3.onmicrosoft.com. And also I can use my 76hpc3 without on microsoft.com. So to demonstrate this, let me open my another subscription where I have purchased a domain. So if I go over here, if I go to if I go over here and say sorry.com. Let me approve my MFA. जी पापा मीटिंग हो गया नहीं क्या हो गया सब खाना खा लो खाए क्यों तुमको कनक देने लिखूं मैं So this is my another portal. Let me open it side by side for you. So you can see I have two portal. Okay, this is my subscription which I am using for my students at 76hp30.com, and this is my production subscription which I am using and Mustafa at zerimari.com. So let me show you. If I go over here and if I go to settings, if I go to domains, and you can see that zerimari.com is my default domain and I have purchased it. So possible service issue is because my domain has expired. So you can ignore that. Then zerimari.onmicrosoft.com. Okay, and you will see that here you have this thing 76hp30 on microsoft.com. So this is the default domain which you will get. Then after purchasing the domain, you can change the default domain to whatever domain you have purchased. So what I mean trying to explain is that whenever you set up any Office 365 tenant, the default domain will be .onmicrosoft.com, your domain .onmicrosoft.com. And after purchasing the domain, it will become your domain.com. Okay. Now let's go to Exchange. Here, let's go to Exchange. Now see what is the difference over here. This is my 76hp3.onmicrosoft.com and this is my zerimari.com. So I have two tenants. Okay, two subscriptions. And if I go to this mail flow, if I expand the mail flow over here, if I go to accepted domains, here I have only two domains. Okay, 76hp.onmicrosoft.com and .mail.onmicrosoft.com. So they are both are means targeting or pointing to Microsoft. And if I go over here and if I go to accepted domains, Here you can see there is an additional domain, jarimari.com. So what I want to say is that I have purchased, I am the owner of this jarimari.com domain. So I am able to add that as an accepted domain in Exchange. Okay, but here I am not able to add because I don't own or yet I have not purchased this domain. Okay, so what will happen when you have an additional domain in accepted domain? So what will happen? So carefully see this. If I go to recipients, if I go to mailbox, I have this user called as uh, this is user mailbox. Okay, Shakir Ahmed. And if I go to this email address, manage email address type, here it is mentioned samahmad@zarimari.com. So I can edit it and I can make it jarimari.onmicrosoft.com or jarimari.mail.onmicrosoft.com. So I can make this as primary address. Okay. So when you have a domain in your accepted domain list, I have these three domains. So what I can do, I can simply go and change my email address to whatever domain list is available. So it can be sma@jerrymarie.com and I can have sma.jerrymarie.onmicrosoft.com and I can select edit and I can make this as reply also. So what will happen? This will become the primary SMTP and this will become the secondary SMTP. So a single user will have one mailbox and two email ID. Okay, if I have multiple accepted domains, I can have multiple email address for a single user. So in our scenario, I have three accepted domains. So I can keep admitting the people now. Okay, so having an additional accepted domains means you can have the number of email ID equal to the number of accepted domains. So if I accepted domains, if I have 10 accepted domains, I can have 10 email IDs over here. Okay. But I will leave it jarimari.com as the primary email address. So when you see this bold one, what is this? This is the primary email address. Primary email address means the recipient will see this as the email address when Shakir sends any email. Whenever Shakir sends an email, so this ID will be reflected in the user's inbox. And if I click this and if I say make this as a reply address, then what will happen? This email ID will reflect as the sender email ID. Okay. So if I go to accepted domains, and these are the three types of email IDs that I can assign to a user or any recipient in my organization. Okay, so that is custom domains. So you need to own a domain. You can get rid of that on Microsoft.com. Okay, you have to purchase the domain. Migrations. So let's skip for migration. I will do migration later on, but I want to show you the Azure AD Connect lab. So if I okay, so if you see my Active Directory server, so let me close this. So this is the my Active Directory server, and if I go to So this is my activity server. If I click on start and if I go to server manager and if I open my activity user and computers, you can see in my data.com, I have this particular OU, GTACM OU, and in GTACM OU, I have two users. And then in Ulve OU, I have two users. And in I have created a separate OU called as Office 365 Sync. And in this OU, I have one group and I have this three users. Now, this is my on-premises Active Directory. I want these users to be available in my Azure Active Directory. Okay, so let me create a new user, or else you can see that user 104 or 103 are part of the Ulve OU. And if I go to my Azure Active Directory, active users. So these all accounts were created by you. Okay. So this Shamim, Adil Bola, this ACP, okay, and this thing, Barkat, Asia, these all accounts were created by you. Okay. And you have assigned license. And if you see this sync status, it is cloud. So when you see this cloud icon, this means you have created this account in the cloud tenant. Okay. So if I drop down and if I scroll, you can see a different icon over here. Okay. And if I go over here, can you see that user 103, 104, 105, 106, 107? Okay. So these all users are not, the icon is not cloud. Why? Because these users have been synced from an on-premises Active Directory. So there is an option to synchronize your on-premises Active Directory users to cloud. This is nothing but this is Azure AD. So if I go over here, if I click on Azure AD, you will see this same thing. If I want to, if means you have the option, if I go to these users, and if I click on all users, so this will give the same information which you have in the admin portal. So this is Azure Active Directory. And here you see this column on premises. So for Adil, Shamim, ICP, Akhtar, it is mentioning no, means it is created in cloud, not on premises. And if I go down, and you can see that it is mentioned as yes. So wherever the on-premises is mentioned yes means these users were created on-premises Active Directory server. Now the question is, so now the question is how to synchronize an on-premises user to Azure Active Directory. This server is hosting my on-premises Active Directory, and this is my Azure Active Directory. Okay, so you have brought this subscription and you want your on-premises Active Directory users to be a part of the Azure AD. Okay, so if I go to my server manager, and if I open this Active Directory user and computers, and you can see that these user have been synced. But if you see user 101 and 102 have not synced. So what is the process? How to synchronize on-premises Active Directory users to Azure AD? So to explain that, you will have to install this Azure AD Connect. Okay, if I go to start and if I go to File Explorer, so what I have done, I have downloaded the Azure AD Connect from internet. I will share you the link. I have downloaded and installed Azure AD Connect on my machine. So after installation, I will get this set of folder. And if I click on Azure AD Connect, so I will walk you through the installation steps. Okay. After installing, it will give you this option, this specific option. Okay. So you will ask for a single sign-on, connect to Azure Active Directory. So let's demonstrate this. So it is telling welcome to Azure AD Connect. The synchronous service scheduler is suspended until the setup wizard is closed. I will say configure, and it will ask you what you want. Customize synchronization option. So I will select next. Okay, then it will ask you that what to synchronize and where to synchronize. And if I am the owner of Tata, I will select tata.com. Okay, but I am not the owner of Tata. My company is 76hpc3.onmicrosoft.com. So it is going to target this tenant in Azure AD. Azure AD has a lot of tenants. It has Reliance.com, it has lntinfotech.com, it has Tata.com, it has irctc.com. Okay, various companies are there in Azure AD. So by supplying this credential, I am targeting my tenant. Okay, and then I will supply my password. So after supplying the password, it will go to cloud and it will again ask to supply your credentials. And it will follow the same process as login. You will have to enable or approve the MFA. So I have approved the MFA on my mobile device. So it is telling that which is your domain. I will select tata.com. Now you will say you are not the owner of Tata.com. Then how come you are mentioning Tata.com? So that is the reason is in my on-premises Active Directory, my domain name is Tata.com, which is not internet facing. Okay. So I can create any domain within my on-premises server and I have added this directory. Okay. So this directory has been already added. So I will say next. Now, this will ask what you want to synchronize. Do you want to, so I have already checked Office 365 and Ulve. So example, if I want to synchronize this cheetahcam.com as well, so I will select cheetahcam. Okay. So what will happen? This user 101 and 102, who these two users have not synchronized to your Azure Active Directory tenant. Okay, so by choosing this option, what I'm telling that until now, only this two OUs were synchronized, means the user belonging to this two particular OUs were synchronized. Now I'm telling my Azure Active Directory Connect tool to synchronize the user from Cheetah OUs as well. Okay, so if I go over here, here you will not find user 101. Okay, but you will find user 105. Why? Because user 105 is from Ulve or Office 365 OU. And user 101 and 102 are from Cheetah OU. Okay, so if I go, you see, Cheetah OU has user 101 and user 102. Now my task is to synchronize these users to Azure AD. Okay, they are on premises AD. If I see to in Ulve, you have 104 and 103. Okay, these two users are there on premises and now they have been synchronized to Azure AD. Okay, so they exist both on premises Active Directory server, and they have been they are present in my on-premises Activity Server, and also they are part of my Azure Activity Server. Now I'm going to do that same configuration for my user 101 and user 102. So for that, I have pulled my Azure Activity Connect, and I'm telling that to synchronize the user from Cheetah as well. Then I will say next. Okay, password as synchronization. So these are the types of passwords. So whenever we synchronize a user, so only user is not synchronized. Along with the user, their password is also synchronized. Okay, so I will select password as synchronization. I will explain all this part of password as synchronization. Since this is part of the interview questions, I will have a separate session to explain you what are the types of password synchronization from on-premises Active Directory to Azure AD. Okay, that is a separate chapter, which we can make as agenda for the next lecture. Then I will select next. Okay. So it's ready to configure. And if I go to my this thing, we go to home. Now you see it is telling that Azure AD Connect sync last sync status is 21 minutes ago. Means 21 minutes ago, I have already synchronized the users. Okay. So it is telling that 21 minutes ago, there is password synchronization on last password sync. Okay, so if there are any errors, there are no errors. So all the user has been synchronized. To see all the user has been synchronized, I can go to my, okay. So still I cannot see my user 101 and 102. So once the synchronize is complete and once you click configure, we will do the following. You update data.com configure synchronization service on this computer. Okay. Start the synchronization process when configuration completes. So the user number of 101 and 102, they are still not available in my Azure AD. Okay. So let's see if I configure what will happen. So once this configuration and this synchronization is complete, we can see that user 101 and user 102 are available in Azure AD as well. So this is how you do a synchronization of user from on-premises Active Directory to Azure Active Directory. Okay. So this is a scenario when your organization is hosting on-premises activity server, and then they decided that they will move to Azure AD, or they will have a coexistence of Azure AD as well, and they will have the existence of Azure web apps or cloud-based web apps. In such a scenario, you will have to synchronize all the users from on-premises Active Directory to your Azure Active Directory so that they can successfully use your cloud application. So what will happen? These all users who have been synchronized can use the cloud application, which means they can use Teams, they can use Exchange mailboxes, they can use SharePoint, they can use OneDrive now. Okay. And before synchronization, this user 101, 102, they can't access Teams, they cannot log into Teams, they cannot use OneDrive. Now, since this user has been synchronized via Azure AD Connect, they have the capability to use cloud-based application like Teams, OneDrive, SharePoint, Exchange Online. So if I go over here and if you can see user 101 has been synchronized to my Azure Active Directory. Okay. Now this user can use Teams. He can use all other various applications since he has been synchronized to Azure AD. Got it? Okay. So I will repeat, what is the procedure? You will have to download and install this particular piece of software as your AD Connect. Okay. You have to install on your on-premises Active Directory server or on a member server. Then you will have to run the installation file. And after running the installation file, you will get this kind of information. Okay, where to install, you will have to select password synchronization, you will have to mention the username password of the your Azure subscription, and then you can filter. Okay, you can select the whole domain or you can select only specific OU. So in my case, I have not selected the whole domain. I have selected only Office 365 and Ulve and Chitagam OU. So I have left all other users. So what will happen? So whenever I keep adding user to this Chitagam OU or this Olve OU, this user will automatically get synchronized to Azure AD. Okay, so no need to say go and run the synchronization again. So if I create new user and I will say the username is Adil. Better I will name it as Adil on premises. Adil on prem. So what will happen when the next synchronization cycle runs? Adil will be available on Azure Cloud. Okay, now the user account I have created in on-premises activity. When the synchronization schedule happens, so the synchronization schedule, if I see, if I go here, uh, okay. So by default, it runs every 30 minutes. Okay. So by default, it will runs every 30 minutes. Now last synchronized is 27 minutes. So after 3 minutes, what will happen that Adil will reflect in Azure AD. So the interview question is, what is the default synchronization cycle? So default synchronization cycle for on-premises automatic synchronization, not manual. The automatic synchronization that happens between my on-premises server and my Azure AD is 30 minutes. Okay. You can change later on. You can change if you want. You can change. If I see here, it is 30 minutes. Okay, default is every 30 minutes. If I say get app on AD sync scheduler, we will have a separate session on the PowerShell where I will explain all the PowerShell commands, how to check for the PowerShell commands, how to check for helps, and how to connect to Azure AD, how to connect to M365 via PowerShell. So these are all upcoming chapters. Okay. So anyone has any questions, just you can post it on chat or you can unmute yourself and you can pose the questions. So you have 5 more minutes and we can wrap up if anyone has no questions. So any doubts so far? Anyone? So just to quickly recap, we have learned custom domains and we have done the lab for AD Connect, and still AD Connect lab, some few topics are pending, like synchronization, and I will add it to the agenda. I will say types of things in AD Connect, and I will also add password things in AD Connect. So we will cover this thing, types of things in AD Connect, password things in AD Connect, and migration. So these are going to be the agenda for tomorrow. Okay. Chat. So anyone has any doubts or any questions, you can post it. If no one has any queries or any doubts or any questions, so probably we can disconnect. I hope this session was informative and you people always have the opportunity to ping me in WhatsApp and get your doubts rectified. Okay. So I hope the session was informative. You people were enjoying the session, and until then we meet for the next session. Bye everyone. Assalamu alaikum.